Hey guys, we're going to take a look at identifying whether or not triangles are congruent, and if so, by which postulates. So the first thing I want to do is just go ahead and grab a pen real quick. Alright, so the first question here says, based on the information given in the diagram, which congruence theorems could be given as reasons to prove these two triangles congruent, exactly the same. Check all that apply. So option A says side, side, side. So what that would mean is that all the sides of the first triangle are congruent to all the sides of the second triangle. And that's not going to be true because the hypotenuse right here is not congruent to the hypotenuse right here. So we can automatically eliminate A. The next one, B, is leg, angle. So is one leg and one angle congruent to the other leg and the other angle? And in this case, that is true. Notice whenever you use leg angle, you have to use the angle that's not the 90 degrees. So in this case, angle is here and leg is here, angle is here and leg is here. So that would be an option. Leg, leg is another option, and that tells me that the two legs of one are congruent to the two legs of the other. Keep in mind, in a right triangle, the legs are the non-hypotenuse sides. So this would be a leg and this would be a leg. The hypotenuse is always located across from the 90-degree angle. So the hypotenuse would be AB and XY. So two legs are congruent on one triangle to the two legs of the other triangle, so leg, leg works. HL stands for hypotenuse leg, saying that the hypotenuse of one is congruent to the hypotenuse of another, and that a leg is congruent to a leg. And in this example, that's not true because the hypotenuses are not congruent to each other. Example E is side, angle, side. And so you would need side of one congruent to the side of another. The angle, notice he's stuck right in the middle between those two sides, and then another side. So if you notice, I've got side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. Notice the two sides are trapping that angle right there. And on your congruencies for like side, angle, 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 side, you can use your 90-degree angle with these. You just can't use them with your two-letter examples. The last, so we said E would be an example, and then you've got F, angle, side, angle. And what we know, I'm going to erase this real quick. Get my pen back. What we know about angle, side, angle is that there's two angles with a side that's trapped right in the middle. So notice on my example here, I've got two angles, angle A and C, and then the side is trapped right in the middle. Same with X and Z, angle, angle, and the side is trapped right in the middle. So this is an example of angle, side, angle. Looking at our next example, we want to figure out whether or not these two triangles are congruent, and if so, by which postulates. The first thing I notice is that all three of these sides are congruent to all three of these sides. So one example is definitely going to be side, side, side. It's not an option here, so you can't choose it, but I did want to call that to your attention. So let's check side, angle, side. Remember, we can use the 90-degree angle in this case. So is there two sides with an angle trapped in the middle? Side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. Yes, that one works. Leg, leg is two legs congruent to the other two legs. And in this example, that is the case. HL is hypotenuse, congruent to hypotenuse, and then leg congruent to leg, and that is the case for this one. HA is hypotenuse angle. Remember, we cannot use the 90-degree angle on the two-letter postulates. So hypotenuse is congruent to hypotenuse, that's true. Is there another angle besides a 90 congruent to another angle of the other triangle? And there's not, so it would not be HA. LA is leg angle, and there is no angle congruent to the other angle on the other triangle, so it's not going to be leg angle. And then angle side tells me there's two angles congruent to other two angles in the triangle, and I don't see that anywhere in my example here. I just see one 90-degree congruent to another 90-degree, so it's not going to be F. Looking at the next question, based on the information, which congruent theorems could be given for these reasons? Let's start with side angle side. Notice the angle is trapped in between the two sides that are congruent. If I've got these two sides congruent, which angle would be right in the middle of those two sides? Well, it'd be this one right up here, angle P. Is he congruent to angle D? Well, we don't know that. It does not tell us that in our picture, so we cannot assume that. So side angle side is not going to be an example of how we can prove those congruent. Let's look at angle side angle. So that means I've got two angles with a side stuck in the middle. Here are my two angles. The side that would be stuck in the middle congruent to the other one would be OQ or CE. Are those two sides congruent to each other? Not by what our picture says. So we can't assume that one either. So it's not going to be either of those two. Let's look at angle side. So we've got two angles, angle, and then another side. Angle, side. Or we could go back to the left, angle, side. That is an example. LA is leg angle. This is a leg. This is an angle, so that should work. LL is both legs, and in this case, there's not both legs congruent to the other legs, so that's not true. And then HL is hypotenuse leg. Hypotenuse of one congruent to hypotenuse of the other, and a leg congruent to a leg. That is true. Then this last example, angle side angle. That side is stuck in the middle right there and between two angles. So here's two angles. Is the side stuck in the middle congruent to the side over here? No. We cannot assume it. Angle side, angle side. That is an example of one congruent postulate. Leg angle. There are no legs congruent to any other legs over here, so that's not true. Hypotenuse angle is true because I've got hypotenuse congruent to hypotenuse, angle congruent to angle. Leg would mean that these two legs are congruent to these two legs, and that's not true. And then hypotenuse leg. Hypotenuse, that's right. But is there a leg congruent to another leg? And that's not true. All right, you guys, hope that helps with your congruent right triangles. Please let me know if you have any other questions.